Today's webinar is about the GMetrix classroom. So I'm going to go ahead and get into our GMetrix classrooms. The first thing that I'm going to do is log into the GMetrix classroom. I'm very excited about this because with this, our students are able to easily and navigate through GMetrix. When they first log in, they will be able to see a video updating them about the student portal update. So just to go over it, it's only a minute and 38 seconds long, so we will definitely be able to hold their attention for that. And then we also have this amazing tutorial that will walk them through the components of the admin of the student dashboard. Once your students are in, they will redeem their code, their classroom code that you have given and issued, that you have created and issued to them. And when they get that classroom code, they are then able to see only the items you have added into their classroom. So if you're teaching Microsoft, they'll only be able to see Microsoft if that's what you added into your class, or Adobe or GS6. Another great feature of this classroom is that another great feature of the student dashboard is that there is one click and they will be able to access all of the content that you have added to the student to their classroom. So they'll be able to access their guide, any courses, in practice exams, and the custom exams. Custom exams will be listed under From My Instructor, but they will be able to access all of this by one click. Students will be able to navigate from here, from the program page, to the school report, and they will be able to see any of the school reports for any work that they have done in the past, any tests that they have completed, whether they completed them in training or testing mode. I do want to encourage you to ensure that your students come here and usually they just look at the score and then they continue on, but have them go ahead and look at the objectives. The objectives on the score report contain lots of good information. Not only does it give you a key as to your proficiency with the colors here, yellow, red, and green, and there's a key here that tells you what each color means, but not only does it give you um, information with those colors, but they're able to click and they're able to see exactly which objectives were on the exam, and then they're able to see more resources in regards to that objective. So encourage your students to go ahead and dig deep and look into that score report rather than just looking at the score and moving forward. Back to the program page, your students are also able to access their courses directly from the program page. And another thing with the practice exam, sometimes our students will start more than one practice exam at a time. But with this new system here, when they click for the practice exam, they'll choose start and they will be able to see all of the exams that they have started. So, and they will be able to see if they're in training or testing mode, the last date that they worked on them, and their progress on those exams. And they will have the option to resume any of those particular exams. If they feel that they need to start a new test, they'll just choose new test and they'll determine their language, training, or testing. And it will give them the information. This is in testing mode. So it's telling me that I have 45 questions, 50 minutes, and my passing score needs to be 700 out of 1,000. I'll choose start, and then I'll go ahead and start my exam. So that goes a long way to help your students to ensure that they are starting new exam or resuming an exam that they were on, rather than restarting over and over on the same exam. Now, another great feature here that I want to introduce you to new to some, old for others, but it is revamped, is the GMetrix study guide. And again, your students will, from the program page, they'll just click start. And again, the tutorial will come up for them. And with this study guide, this is an amazing way for students to do their own remediation and focus on the topics that they need to focus on to pass these exams. It is tailored to the individual student. When you are in classrooms and when you're looking at other reports, they're going to be overall based on the entire class, and instruction is overall based on the entire class. But when the students are looking within their student dashboard at the study guide, they are able to see where they are as an individual and tailor their own instruction and practice tests and their studies based on that information. So if we look here, first thing students are able to do is set the date for their upcoming exam. Once they set that date, then it will give them the number of days remaining until their exam. So that gives them a countdown. They're able to see the practice exams that they've passed, the topics that they mastered. And one thing I want you to note here is proficiency is 80% on topics. Passing score on the exams is 70%, but proficiency is 80% for the GMetrix exams. We do want to give our students that cushion there. So proficiency is 80%. What I also want you to note here is that when it's talking practice exams passed, it's speaking testing mode. It's speaking of those exams in testing mode. If you have a course, it will also tell you the courses that are completed. When we go down, we see our student strengths and our opportunities. Everything is going to start under an opportunity. So all of the objectives will be under an opportunity, and the students will have the opportunity to make them a strength. As they are taking the test in testing mode, and this is very important, as they are completing the exams in testing mode, it will update their scores on the objectives and there's opportunity. And these are their scores here. These are your students' proficiency scores. Once they have reached mastery, and again, mastery is 80% on that particular objective, it will move from an opportunity to a strength, as you see here. Again, once they've reached mastery in testing mode, 80% or better, it moves from an opportunity to a strength. So as your students are taking these exams, the things that it's determining that they are learning with these practice exams that they have learned, it's going to take them out of their opportunities. So your students are able to focus on their opportunities for their learning. They are also able to click on the objectives. And when they click on the objectives, it will tell them how many questions they've attempted and how many questions are in this objective. And they will be able to create their own custom exam in training or testing mode. And I'll show you again how I got here. What I did, I chose one of the opportunities, clicked on it, and now I can see where I can launch a test with all the questions for this objective in training or testing mode. If you have the LearnKey course, you will also be able to see the LearnKey resources. That's going to be that video associated with that objective for reinforcements and to reiterate that objective. You will be able to see the questions for that objective. If it is a question that requires them, say like Adobe has questions that might require them to change the view of the interface, it will show the question stem as well as the explanation. It will not show the answers to the question because that's something that they have to go in and do. But with the multiple choice, the true false questions, the matching questions, it will show the question, the answer with the correct answer, and the explanation. Students will also have the opportunity here to add notes for the questions. All right. They will also have the opportunity to add notes for the objectives. And those notes do save. All right. Those notes will save once they add them here. They'll also be able to see the sub objectives for the objective, and depending on what program you are in, depends on what additional information the sub objectives have. Some of them have detailed information, some of them have pictures and step-by-step directions. All right. What the students also have here in their study guide is going to be the quick review. This quick review is amazing, so students can study, again, they can focus their studies on the items that they need to work on rather than overall everything. They can focus on the items that they need to work on. This is also great for sub work, but this is great. Quick review is great for the students. They are able to choose their mode, whether they choose testing or training. They're able to choose question types. They can choose lowest, which is going to be the questions that they scored the lowest on. And what it will do, it will tell them the max number of questions. and then they can choose a number of questions. So for my lowest, I have 152 questions in that question bank, and I can choose 30 questions out of that question bank and choose start test, and it will give me 45 minutes to take that test because I've chosen it in testing mode. If I switch it to training mode, my time is unlimited. I can also choose random questions, and it gives me the full question bank, and I can choose a specific number of questions that I'd like on a test out of those random questions and choose start test. I can also choose flag questions. And the flag questions are the ones that the students flag during testing mode. In most of your tests, in the top right-hand corner, there's it's going to say flag for review. In your tests like Adobe, Microsoft, and AutoCAD, it's going to be on the actual question at the bottom. On the actual question at the bottom, it's going to say flag for review. I encourage you to have your students flag for review anything that they don't understand or they might need additional assistance on when they're testing. This way, they can come back to their quick review. They can choose the question type of flag for review. It'll tell them how many questions they flagged. They can choose the number of questions that they'd like in the review and choose start test. And they can do this in training mode. Doing this in training mode will give them help. There's a light bulb on the test, so they will get the help, and it will allow them to answer the question as well as see the explanation for the question. So it's helping them to remediate and reteach. It also gives them that time so they're not sitting there with the timer counting down so that they can ask the teacher for assistance or even ask another student for assistance or look back through notes for assistance on that particular question. When it comes to topics and objectives, again, we see our colors here are proficient, familiar, and needs development. Needs development means that they scored under 50% on those particular questions. Familiar means that they scored between 51 and 80%. And proficient means that they scored 81% or better. These are the same colors and the same scale that's on the that are on the score report, but they're able to see which questions are under which topic, and they are able to create a custom test in testing or training mode with those questions as well. All right, and we'll navigate back here to our program page. Again, your students, they one click and they are able to get to their study guide, their courses, their practice exams, and then any custom tests that the instructor has made. And that's your new GMetrix study guide, your new GMetrix student dashboard. I'm going to go ahead and look at questions to begin answering the questions. I have a question that says, when I create my own test, can you show how I can see which were the questions most missed so I can reteach those topics? Are you creating your own test in the admin dashboard, or are you creating, or do you mean the students creating them here within the study guide? If you're talking about the students creating them here within the study guide, it's not going to show which questions that you missed the most, but what it does show, like in a quick review here, it is going to show the questions that you got the lowest scores on. You will be able to see the question that you got the lowest on, and then you will be able to easily see the questions that you are familiar with and that you need development on. All right, I have another question. When we schedule our classes currently, we can schedule out all assignments to be sent out on certain days and due times on certain days. Yes, when you are in classrooms in the admin dashboard, you are able to put a start date and a due date on those assignments. And so when you see that, I'll navigate to the program page. Your students will still be able to see that the assignments are there, but the assignments will be grayed out and they will not be able to access them. They will not be able to click start. So all of the assignments will be there. They just will not be able to click start or access them until that particular due date. All right, let me see what the next question is. This is being recorded and you will be able to see it on YouTube. This is being recorded and you will be able and will be placed on YouTube after the webinar. Okay, here's another question. Will teachers be able to see the student notes? So they're asking when the students are here within the study guide and their opportunities and they make notes on questions, will the teachers be able to see these notes? No, the teachers, only the students will be able to see those notes. Only the students will be able to see those notes. If the teacher would have to go to the student computer to see what the students are doing or to the student computer to see them. All right, just going through the questions, making sure. Can I have two accounts as an instructor and a student with the same email? Absolutely. And just quickly, I'll show you. I encourage everyone to have a student account. Okay, so this is my admin account here. And the easiest way to get to my student account here, click log in as a student, and it will take you over to your student account using the same username and password that you have for your admin account. You are also able to go over, just go to gmetrix.net and click and log in using that same username and password for your student account. The question is, can they access after the due date has passed? So after the due date has passed, what will happen is your students will click on it, will attempt to click on it, and it will give them a pop-up saying that the due date has passed. And so at that point, someone will need to have a conversation with you as a teacher. You can extend the due date. The caveat is when you extend it, it's extended for the whole class period, for the whole classroom. It doesn't allow extension for just one person. It will extend it for everyone. So if you, they can access the due after the due date if you reset the due date. But once the due date has passed or has arrived, they'll click on it and it'll gray out again, and they'll click on it and it will give them a pop up letting them know that that the due date has passed. Here's another question. Does the study guide offer links to the LearnKey training, or will it work with our brain buffet? So the study guide, I'm gonna go here to the study guide. If you have the LearnKey, the study guide does offer, it does not offer links, but if you click within your opportunities or even your strengths here, you can click on course resources and it will it's right there for them. They will not have to, they will not be directed to another screen or anything. Those LearnKey resources are right here within that course for them, within their opportunity for them. The videos associated with that, the videos associated with that particular objective are right there so that they can see them. So, and a clarification here. So after the due date, they can access if you extend the due date, but it does it for all. Yes. Yes, if you extend the due date, they will be able to access it, but it will extend the due date for everyone in the class, not just one person. All right, I'm just going through the questions. Okay, so here is a question. Can you set the score report gradebook to show only the highest score attempt made? So two answers to that question. When the students are looking at their score reports, I'm going to navigate over to the score report here. And there's, okay, so when they're looking at their score report here, here's a drop down and they're able to see all of their scores, their score reports. But it's going to show them the latest one is going to show up first. What they can also do is go to their transcript, and I just clicked on transcript on the left-hand side here, and they are able to see all of their coursework here. Now, I have extensive coursework in my account, but your student's account will not have this much extensive coursework. But they're able to see all of their coursework here, and you see they're able to see the start date and the completed date, and they're easily able to see their scores on that work. So I hope that answers your question. Also in classrooms, you can filter in classrooms so that they can see, so that only you can see, so that you can see only the highest attempt on that particular score. on that particular test. Now, next week's session is on classrooms, and I will go over how to do all of that on next week. But this is how you do it from the student's perspective so that they can see it. All right. Okay, I have another question here from April. When do schools get this new platform? This platform actually, the new student dashboard actually launched 2 weeks ago. So everyone should have that. If you do not have that, then I encourage you to go ahead and reach out to our technical support. And the support site is support.gmetrix.net. You can create a support ticket. But this platform actually launched 2 weeks ago. You also want to make sure that you are in gmetrix.net. And when you log into the platform, this is what you will see. This is going to be the first thing that you see, and that will let you know that you're on the new platform. Now, I'm going to log out here to show you what it looks like on the outside. So the gmetrix.net portal, this is the student dashboard. It always has a student on it. And then the manage.gmetrix.net, this is the admin dashboard. It has the arches on it. So make sure that you are in the student dashboard. And when you log in, this is what you should see, this new dashboard. If not, I would encourage you to go ahead and reach out to our technical support for assistance with that. April, GMetrix does integrate with PowerSchool. GMetrix does integrate with PowerSchool, and we do have a webinar coming up on the 28th of August that shows you what some of the integrations look like and what to look for with those integrations. But yes, it does integrate with PowerSchool. Great question there. All right, let me just look one more time to make sure I have answered all the questions. And just a reminder again, we do have our webinar coming up each Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Next week, August the 21st, is classrooms. August the 28th is going to be integrations. September 4th is the educator journey, and October 2nd is going to be the student journey. And these are at 5 p.m. Eastern Time for that webinar. And you can register in the GMetrix admin dashboard at manage.gmetrix.net. Just click on the calendar, choose the webinar that you'd like to register for, and the link will take you so that you can register. All right. Thank you all so much. We have reached our time. Thank you all so much for joining us, and I hope to see you all again next week. We appreciate you, and again, this will be posted onto YouTube following the webinar. Thank you all again so much. Have a great evening, everyone.